Hello everybody, Hellcrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere. Episode 329. Yes, 329 episodes. So if you're the first time you ever watched one or listened to one of these, there's a whole bunch of them. So go back into the playlist and start from the beginning. Alright, the Night Gyr 75-ton clan mech. It is a 464. It does have some mobility. It runs around with 38. Yes, 38 tons of pod space. This thing is a beast. Yep. We've had it in the last campaign. We had like 2 of them in there, and it's like it would waylace anything that got near it. It's like you had 2 of them running together. It was like, oh, DRT right there. All right, so, like I said, it's a 75-ton mech. It's a 464, has Indo steel, has a 300 XL engine, clan style. 12 double heat sinks comes standard on the mech. It has 11.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor, which almost like I think it's a ton short of maximum. I think 300 and something is, so if you had another ton on there, it would be maxed out. But, you know, it is what it is. All right, so, yeah, the Night Gyr. There's a plethora of different versions of it. Since it is an Omni-Mech, you can play around with all kinds of new toys if you want to play around. But the standard configuration is we have 2 ERPPCs in the left arm. Yes, you heard that right. 2 of them. Yeah. It has a couple double heat sinks in the left arm to go with that. So, yeah, the Prime version adds 8 more heat sinks. So, yeah, you're up to 20. So, it needs it to carry out for all the heat that is running around with it. It has in the right arm an Ultra 10 autocannon with 2 tons of ammo, which it needs. It's 10 turns of operational weaponry. And yes, we've had games where it ran dry. So it's like, well, it still had to back up ERPPCs. Not like they're a problem or anything. And then we have a medium pulse laser in the left torso. 2 more double heat sinks in the left torso. We have a medium pulse laser in the right torso. 2 more medium or double heat sinks in the right torso. A medium pulse laser in the head. And a double heat sink in the center torso. And then we have the jump jets are in the right and left leg. That comes standard. That's just fixed. Good. Now, it does come with a price tag of a little over 2,800 battle value, but it can lay down a good amount of firepower. So when you think about it, it's slow compared to, let's say, the 75-ton Timberwolf. It's running around, which is a 5.8, which has more mobility, which is more of a cavalry style mech. This is your just punch you in the face type. It's on the verge of being an assault mech. If this was an inner sphere mech, this would be an assault mech. Plain and simple. Just the amount of firepower it can just lay out. And anybody that gets near one of these things will know it's there. And let me tell you, it's like in all the games we played, it's a Night Gyr. They just turn and look at it and go, let's kill it. Just everybody fire at it and try to bring it down. Try. It does have enough armor on board that it can survive a few turns of concentrated firepower unless it gets in some juicy parts. But even then, when you get your standard clan stuff, it's going to be hidden possibly if you get it, if it has any type of ammo. You know, you got case. So that saves it. But you're going to give a noggin hit to the old pilot. So get an idea of what the Night Gyr does. It's a slow plugger. Plain, it just goes right up the middle. There is no really mystery about it. Being a 4.6, it fights similar to most of your Intersphere Succession War style heavies. Most Intersphere assault mechs are usually 3.5, so it will fit right into that category pretty decently when it comes to it. So you find where you're going, and you kind of just move this one right up the middle. It's your focal fire point of your lance, or not a lance, but a star. So it goes right up the middle. You have your couple other guys to keep things off its rear, on the flanks, and then you're laying down a fire. This is a fire platform mech. Because when you got a couple ER PPCs in, let's say an AC-10, you can put out about 50 points of damage really quickly with this thing. And if you hit a mech and you're knocking off a 15, 15, 10, 10, they will get annoyed with you really quickly. All right. But when you look at that, you see that you can, with this mech, fire the long range stuff and run and not worry about heat. It's when you start throwing in those couple more double or medium pulse lasers, you start overloading the double heat sinks a bit. So you can fire one of them and not worry too much for a couple turns. If you fire the second one, yeah, you're like next turn you're going to be kind of hot. Be thinking about maybe suddenly becoming a 3-5 moving mech, but you're still the middle of the road fire platform that is dishing it out. But you got to watch it. Like, make sure you get into some good terrain with this mech. Otherwise, you will go down pretty quickly if they concentrate on it. Now, if you're fighting against inner sphere mechs, you can survive a little bit longer. And typically, with our experience, if you're fighting against most house mechs, they're going to be like, most pilots are going to be 4 gunnery. Occasionally going to have some 3s in there if you're playing a campaign type game. And they're going to miss a little bit. So you can survive a little bit longer. And you kind of rotate in. Now, if you got another Night Gyr or two, or other heavy, you just kind of do a rotational thing. So trying to make the damage go off and give different mechs. So you're not just one of them going down completely. It's a rotational damage type technique. Now, there are a plethora of different versions of this mech running around. Now, the A is my favorite. This is your City Fighter, Configuration A. It mounts an AC-20 Ultra, yes, 2 streak 6s, a large pulse laser, and 3 medium pulse lasers. Add to it, and you got 4 more double heat sinks, so you're running around with 16. So you get 16 double heat sinks. And you can fire the double pump, the Ultra, and the large pulse laser, and the streaks. With, you know, it's like you look at how you can fire this thing. Typically, at range, your long-range weapon system is your large pulse, so you're doing a little bit of damage as you're closing in. And let me tell you, it's like when you're firing only a single large pulse laser and you got something else, let's say the prime configuration, who do you think they're going to concentrate? They're going to go, oh my gosh, that thing is just laying down all kinds of firepower at us. It's hurting us. And this thing is like, oh, plink. Oh, I'm just hitting you with 10. Ignore me. I'm not doing anything. And all of a sudden, when you get in close, you unleash. You're like, I'm not going to fire the large pulse laser anymore. I'm going to switch over to my 3 medium pulse lasers and my streaks and my autocannon double pump it, which you got enough ammo to go with that thing, which I think is, yeah, 3 tons of ammo to go with that ultra cannon. And let me tell you, when you get this thing in close and you're not firing the large pulse laser, you're not worrying about heat too much. You're coming in at about 2,700 battle value. But let me tell you, when this thing fires in at you and hits you, ooh, yeah. They were like, oh my gosh, where'd this come from? It's like, well, they were totally ignored. And you just ripped some holes into somebody and you just hit them with a couple streak 6s. Yeah, they're gonna hate you. It's like, that's been my experience. It's kind of like a mystery mech. It's like hey, okay, he's not that bad. He's not that. Ooh, whoa, where'd this come from? Yeah, that's been the experience a lot of times in a lot of games that people, first time they've ran into the A configuration. I like it. That's one of my favorites. Now, one thing we have done in the past with the A configuration, you could drop it down to an Ultra 10, or, and one of my favorite options, if you really turn it into a crit hunting beast, is flop the Ultra Cannon into an LBX 20. And you can throw in maybe another like an ER medium laser or something for the tonnage save. Now it's because this is an Omni. You can configure it how you want to. Just say it. All right, configuration B. All right, this one has a pair of Gauss rifles and a pair of LBX2s. Yeah, well, okay. It comes in, this is kind of a cheap version of this mech. Comes in a little over 2,100 battle value. You're saving a little bit, but really with the LBX2s, yeah, I'm not a big fan of LBX2s. I'd rather just give me a large pulse laser. Just like scrape one of those things off and give me a large pulse laser instead. So I'm not a big fan of the LBX2. It's like the amount of tonnage you have with a little bit of damage it does. No, not a big fan. Not at all. But it is what it is. So the Gauss rifles it's the same thing as having a couple ER PPCs. You can do it in 15-point smacks. So this is kind of your long-range firepower base. It is good against vehicles and VTOLs, per se. That is its one good thing that goes with this. Is that if you see a bunch of vehicles out in the open, you hit them with a couple Gauss rifles and you smack them with a shotgun effect of the LBX, you can get some mobility hits. That's the upside of this mech configuration. Not a fan of it. Up close, obviously, it's one of those ones, it's a standoff fire base. Configuration C, all right, this one is another long-range variant. Has 3 Ultra 2s, 2 ER large lasers, a pair of ER medium lasers for backup, and it does have a target computer with 6 extra heat sinks. Well, yeah, that gives you 18, so you dissipate 36. So you're looking at 24, 27, 37 points of heat. So yeah, you can heat this thing up if you need to. So you can go up to, you can go up to 39 really quick. If you jump, even more. But, you got a targeting computer with that. So it's more or less one of these ones you're going to just park in the back and say, hey, I'm just going to plug away. And if they get within the ER medium laser range, then you start worrying about the heat problem. Otherwise, it's like, it's cool. All right. And it comes in at about 2,500 battle value. So it's a little more expensive. But it's a plinker, once again. It's the same type of concept as the B, where you sit back, and works really good against vehicles and VTOLs, that kind of thing. So you're knocking those things down, hopefully getting some mobility hits. So your up close units can next turn, if like you get a fast moving hovercraft come rolling through and you get a mobility hit and cut its movement in half, it's dead. All right, next turn it will die, because that's the thing that keeps those things alive, is speed. All right, now this is probably my second favorite version, configuration D. This one carries 4, yes, you heard it, 4 LRM-20s with Artemis, 6 tons of ammunition. And it has a large pulse laser and a medium pulse laser. It comes in a battle value of 2,900. Yeah, but the only problem is with this thing is heat. All right. A lot of times is like you're sitting there, you can rip out. Now, okay, if you're not moving, you park yourself in place with some heavy woods and you don't have to worry about any type of movement. So you're getting a 2 mod without moving at all. And the best you can get, unless you jump, well, is 2, right? So if you get yourself parked in some heavy woods, why move? And if you just lay down the LRMs, so you're cool, you're right at your heat dissipation, so you can do up to 80 points of damage. Typically, it's about 48, roughly, on an average. 48 to 50-something is your average, but still, that's a lot of damage. And once again, this falls into the whole concept of the Night Gyr is a fire platform. You park that thing and you just unleash, you just hammer away with those launchers. And if someone decides to get in close, you can think about, oh, do I want to not fire, let's say, a couple of the LRM-20s and flip over to a large pulse laser and a medium pulse laser as your backup weapons. You can, but you know, now the thing is that when the LRM-20 bays dry up, because you got 36 shots divided by 4, you know, yeah, that's, you know, you got roughly, what, 9 turns, something like that, of shooting with the launchers. So when those are dry, you do have backup weapons, and a large pulse laser, medium pulse laser can do some good work later in the game. So, but it is a definite fire platform. It just screams it. All right, configuration E. This one uses pulse lasers, has 2 large pulse lasers and 6 medium pulse lasers, has an ATM-6 and an SRM-6, carries 6 extra double heat sinks, or 18, and the ATM has 2 tons of ammunition, so you do have some flexibility with that. It comes at a little over 2,700 battle value. Now, this one can run hot. Personally, I've used this configuration before. This is kind of nice, is that you got the 2 large pulse lasers and 6 medium pulse lasers. All right, so there's 10, 20 plus 24, so yeah, 40. You can really cook yourself pretty quickly with those medium pulse lasers. And we have done in the past to take the configuration E and flip it around a little bit and drop off the ATM and to convert that into more heat sinks to help manage that heat a little bit better, and then upgrade the SRM-6 into a Streak 6. Which, you know, I like Streaks. With clans, I'd rather use a Streak 6 over an SRM-6, just for the fact that you can attempt to fire it. If it doesn't launch, you're not worrying about heat. That's the one nice thing about it. And if it does fire, you get 6 nice little 2-point blinkers going off. So that's kind of like how I look at that one. So it's a hot one. So you got to manage that heat a little bit better, considering that. But when you get, it's like this, where you can fire the 2 large pulses and the ATM-6 out at range, and you're doing your long range damage. And then when they get in close, you're probably going to shut off one of the large pulse lasers, kick over to the medium pulse lasers and ATM-6, and the fire and forget SRM-6. So there's that. Okay. Configuration F. All right, this one uses Gauss rifles, hyper assault Gauss rifles, HAG-20 and a HAG-30. Yeah, it's like big giant shotguns. So this one can do some good damage out at range. It has a pair of ER medium lasers and a target computer to go with it. It has an ECM. There you go. And it's like 29.5 battle value, so it's kind of expensive. But if you do hit with the HAG 20 and 30, yeah, you're going to do some good damage. It's going to hurt. They'll know it. They'll know you're there. And then you just got the backup pair of ER medium lasers. It's kind of like, I'm going to knock off 7 here and there. So it's not one I'd write home about that I really like, but I've seen it on the table, and it will do some good damage when it does hit. Now, configuration G. This one uses this is Dark Age stuff. It has a advanced PPC capacitor for upgrading, you know, extra. And you got a LBX-5 in each arm, so kind of like micro shotguns. Not that I'm a big fan of the LBX. I'd rather have an LBX-10, but you know, if you got a pair of 5s, you can do roughly some good damage. Typically, it's 3 little blinkers. And then you got equipped with an ER flamer for a little bit in each torso and a 3rd in the head. So this is kind of a anti-infantry style, anti-vehicle. So let me tell you, if you hit a vehicle with flamers, they're going to know you're there. So you can do some mobility kills, get some crits, or cooking out infantry. You have 16 double heat sinks just to handle the heat that goes with those weapon systems. So there's that. And it comes a little over almost 3,100 battle value. So it is a bit expensive. Yeah. Not a fan though. Configuration H. All right. This one has a heavy laser. Has a heavy laser. Has a Gauss rifle. All right. And it has an Ultra 10 cannon. And then we have a medium pulse laser. And then we have 5 extra heat sinks to go with that. So yeah, it provides enough dissipation, so you're not really worrying too much about the heat. It's the heavy large lasers, your heat buildup with that one, but it's not that bad. It comes in a little over 2,400 battle value. It does have ECM to go with it. So this one is kind of an armor ripper. So with the heavy large laser and the Gauss rifle and the ultra cannon, you can dish out a lot of damage really quick. All right. And then you got the medium pulse laser. It's kind of like a backup weapon when you look at all the other weapon systems on board. So it does carry some heavy stuff. So they'll know it if you hit them. So kind of nice. Not bad. Kind of it's hard to describe. It's almost, it can work fairly well as a fire platform in the middle, up close, or as a good city fighter, for that matter. Configuration T. This one has a pair of ERPPCs for long range, 3 medium pulse lasers, and an LBX 20. So this is similar to what we were talking about. It has 17 double heat sinks, comes in at almost 2,800 battle value. This is similar to what we were talking about up top. The one, I think, alpha configuration. Oh, yeah, not bad. This is an interesting one that I kind of like. And the points are slightly less than the prime configuration, but out at range, you know, you got a pair of ERPPCs that can do some good damage. It'll hurt, and then when you get in close, you're still laying down the hurt. But it's the heat problem that goes with this one. Even though you got 17 double heat sinks, you're dissipating 24. You consider, let's say, 32, because, you know, max movement of running, drop down to 32, consider that. And you just rip through 30 of it with the 2 ERPPCs, and then the LBX cannon is going to add a little bit more to that heat problem that you got going on there. You know, with the LBX 20, 6 heat, I believe. Yeah, 6 heat. So it can get a little hot pretty quickly. So yeah, you got to watch that one. But it's still, they'll know it when you're there. So it's one of those things where, okay, you get in close. I'm going to shut off at PPC and then probably go with the 3 medium pulse lasers and the autocannon. That's kind of like how it's probably envisioned to go with it. So you're going to dissipate a little bit more heat because you got a 15, 12, and a 6. So that's 27, 32, 33, 35. So yeah, that ain't bad. You can do that a few turns up close and personal. So not bad at all. Then the X configuration for the X games. We got a rotary Rack 5, a pair of Streak LRM-10s. Yes, Streak LRM-10s. And a short-range head-mounted micro-pulse laser with 12 double heat sinks. So about 2,800 battle value. So I got 2 Rack 5s. I've seen this one around before. It can do a little bit of damage up close. Especially you get somebody that's like carefree and don't care if their rack has a potential jamming on them. They'll just say, I'm firing all 6. Rip through the ammo really quick and fire the Streak 10s. And then it's like, hey, I might be close enough to fire the pulse laser. Yeah. But overall, an interesting configuration for ripping little holes into little people in 5-point blocks. Typically, though, you're going to get, if you fire both of them, they both hit, typically you get about 6 hits with those. So that's about 30 damage, little 5-pointers. And then when you look at the streaks and you get those 2 going off, you got a lot of little 5-point shots hammering away into somebody. So there's that. It's kind of like a broad spectrum armor ripper. You know, look at it that way. But overall, that is the Night Gyr. Let me see. I have in the past. Let me see. We'll bring it up here. Configuration of Night Gyr we've used. Okay, here we've got one. It's got 18 double heat sinks. I think this was in our last campaign game. An ERPPC, large pulse laser, 1, 2, 3, 4 medium pulse laser, and 2 streak 6s. It's kind of similar to the A configuration, but without the ultra cannon. But it takes the ultra cannon and converts it into an ERPPC. And then, oh, it's got a targeting computer. That's where all that extra toning went. Targeting computer. So this thing can tear armor off pretty quickly. So it makes a very good, interesting mech. That one did. So give that one a little try and see how it works out for you. But overall, that's the Night Gyr. An interesting mech. Works for me. All right. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcrix out.